Hello and welcome to day 19. Another lovely practice scheduled for us ahead. We're going to do some seated poses. Yay! So these preferably would be done on the floor. I don't think we can do this on a chair. So making sure that you have 1 or 2 blocks available to you would be good, or those books, or equally you've got some pillows. So just grabbing the tools that you need, and then we're going to make it onto the mat. So pause me now. Boop. And unpause. Hi. So we're going to settle into our mats, into our space, into our bodies just for the first few moments. So taking this time, you've got 10-15 minutes, not going to be a long one today, and just use this as precious time for yourselves to reconnect with your body, reconnect with what's going on in your mind. And yeah, day 19, well done everyone. So as always, either closing your eyes if that feels comfortable, if not, just picking a point on the floor slightly in front of you, and maybe just rolling those shoulders up and back and letting out a big sigh. I think I need to do that again. So inhale to roll the shoulders up and back, and then a big exhale out through the mouth. Now just tuning back into your natural rate of breath. Another great way to ground yourselves and become present in the moment is just to think about which parts of the body are currently in contact with the earth. Maybe it's the feet, the ankles, the sit bones. You have your hands either side, maybe the fingertips, the hands, the palms. And just noting to yourself the sensation that is felt in these body parts as it's supported by the earth. Do they feel grounded? What does that sensation feel like to you? And when you're ready, just bring that chin towards the chest, blinking the eyes open to a point in front. And we'll take in the rest of the room by lifting up our chin. So what we're going to do, we're going to make our way onto our mats. So I will shimmy myself back. I might even, oh look, I've got my socks on again, dog walking socks. Might even bring the mat a bit closer to you today. And I'm going to spin it around. I think this will be a better viewpoint for you all. That was my first yoga move. It's kind of like upside, well, like a 3-legged bridge. It's not really a yoga move. So I'm going to keep my socks on for this because I believe everything that we're going to be doing will not particularly involve grip with my feet. So just getting yourself in a nice easy Sukhasana, our easy seat. Again, if you have that block available to you, you can always pop that under the sit bones, just to elevate those hips above the knees. And obviously your Sukhasana might not look like my Sukhasana. It might be a bit higher up like this, and that's absolutely perfectly normal. If it feels better for you, you can you can pop one block under one knee and another on the other, or we have got those books if you don't have any blocks available. But if we are sitting cross-legged, if we try and make sure that we don't have one ankle on top of the other, one sits comfortably in front of the other. And then, like I just did, some nice rearranging so I can feel both sit bones firmly rooted into the floor. We'll just warm up the body and the spine because we're going to do a few twists. So we want to make sure that the body is nice and prepared for that. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Fingertips and palms attached to the top. And exhale, float them all the way back down. Again, making sure our breath is connected to our movement. Actually, that's the other way around. It's making sure our movement is connected to the breath. So the breath guides us and the movement follows. Just doing one more of these, and the next time the hands come up to touch the top, we're just going to hold them there as we go into our first twist. So inhale, we're going to lengthen through those fingertips, through the crown of the head. And then the exhale, we're going to start twisting over to our right side. So bring that left hand onto the outside of the right knee, and then swinging that right arm out behind us. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. And exhale to twist over to that right side. Again, making sure both sit bones are still firmly rooted on the ground. And then it's your choice of gaze. So I'm keeping my neck nice and neutral. But if you wanted to, you start taking your chin over towards that right shoulder and sending your gaze over to the right side. Seeing if you can drop those shoulders down away from the ears if they just happen to creep up. And then with your next inhale, we're going to bring both hands towards centre once more, fingertips or palms to touch. And then on the exhale, we're going to send it the other way, so twisting over to our left side this time. Right hand comes onto the knee, and that left hand comes behind us. Inhale, we lengthen, imagine creating tiny little spaces in between each vertebrae. And exhale to rotate. And again, choosing your gaze, bring the chin over that left shoulder. We're keeping the chin nice and neutral. Maybe tuning into your breath as we rest here just for a breath. And then with the next inhale, we're going to bring the hands back to centre once more, fingertips and palms to touch at the top. And exhale, hands come down the midline of the body. And we're going to rest them at our heart centre. And we're going to set ourselves a little intention, maybe for the next 10 minutes, or for the rest of the day ahead, or for the week ahead. And maybe see if you can surmise that whole intention in just one word. Picking out that one word. I'm just going to repeat that silently to ourselves. When you're ready, floating the hands back down onto the front of the thighs. We'll just warm up the spine ever so slightly more. So we're going to go to our lazy cat and cows. So inhale, chest comes forward, neck and head. And on the exhale, tucking the chin under, pulling the belly button towards the spine and tucking that tailbone under. So inhale, the tailbone goes out, we lift the chest, the neck and the head. And exhale, chin in towards the chest, belly button tucked in towards the spine and tuck that tailbone under. So working with the breath, inhale, we come into a lovely lazy cow. And on the exhale, we retreat into ourselves and come into our lazy cat. And just doing one more round. Then with the next inhale, we're going to bring ourselves up into a nice upright position. Taking out the legs out long in front of us, making sure all 10 toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Again, if this is too uncomfortable on the lower back, on the legs, you can always raise the sit bones again by the popping a block and do your bum, or finding a folded blanket or a pillow, and even just putting a slight bend in the knees helps that release with the lower back. When you're ready, we're going to bend that left leg and bring the sole of that right leg in towards the body. In towards the body. Let's start again. Rewind. When you're ready, we're going to bend the left leg and bring the sole of the left foot into the inside of that right thigh. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale, we're just going to hold this pose, warming up that leg. And then when you're ready, inhale one more time. And then exhale, we're going to start hinging forward over that front leg. You can choose to walk the hands down the leg, or you can just keep the hands where it was. We're just going to do some nice gentle stretches. And when you're ready with an inhale, just walking the hands back up, bringing the torso back up into that nice upright position. We're going to switch the legs over. So bringing that left leg out long this time, now bending at the right knee, and bring the sole of the right foot onto the inside of that left thigh. So inhale to lengthen, and exhale, we're going to start hinging forward over that front leg. Taking a pause when we need to breathe. And exhale to hinge further. And like I say, it's still warming up, so not too intense stretches. We don't need the torso to be flat against the thigh. We're just warming the legs up. And then when you're ready, with an inhale, we're just going to bring the torso back up into a nice upright position. We're going to come into our bound angular pose. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet to touch out in front of us, and having a gap of maybe a torso length between the groin and the heels. Oh, I'm glad I picked to keep these lovely socks on. And we're just going to grab the feet, take a nice inhale, shoulders drop down away from the ears, and exhale, see if you can just let those knees gently fall down towards the floor. Again, you don't have to keep your hands here. You can place them on the calves. You might want to place them behind you, in front of you. But remember, this is your practice, this is your body, and you take whichever version feels good for you. And you don't necessarily need to keep that gap of a torso between the heels and the groin. If you find it more comfortable, you can bring them closer together, or equally take them further out. But just picking which feels good for you. And like I say, if this is a really uncomfortable pose, then just go into one of the stretches we did earlier with taking it alternate legs out. And also, if you have blocks, you can always pop them under the knees. Like I say, making your yoga practice as unique as you. And when you're doing these at home, I know you don't get that same community feel, which is so important with yoga, but equally you can just have a really good play around with what works for you and your body, grabbing different props, pressing pause, and just really getting to know your body in your own time, in your own practice. And just take one more breath here. And then on the exhale, just releasing those hands, we're going to come into fire log pose now. So again, this is always a good idea to have the blocks in front. We're just going to use both hands. We're going to grab that left ankle. We're going to pick up that left ankle and we're going to bring it over. See, I'm shuffling that right foot over at the same time. And we're just going to bring that left ankle to sit on top of that right thigh. You can see I've got a bit of a gap here. And the aim is we're going to try and line up our shin bones, one on top of the other. So this is when the blocks come in handy. You can place a block between that bottom foot and the knee, or if that leg's still up high there, placing the block under there. Unfortunately, I haven't got any other blocks at hand. Or maybe you can just let it sit down, but again, please using any props. You can use pillows between the leg here, pillows under here, and whichever version, we're just going to make sure that we're rising up through the spine. We're lining up all our chakras right from the base, all the way up the body, the crown of the head, up to the sky. And just remembering to breathe. Hand placement is not necessarily important. Again, it's just about making yourself comfortable. So I'm just resting my hands on my shins. You may want to bring them out to the sides. Or you can come back to that lovely Anjali mudra, remembering your intention. And while in this pose, we're just going to maybe notice where there's any tension being held in the body. Maybe in the thighs, in the hips. And see if we can let that tension go, maybe with the exhales. If you have had that hands in that lovely mudra, we're just going to bring them all the way back down to the side. Blinking our eyes open, and you've guessed it, we've got to do the same on the other side. So using your hands as a help, we're going to pick that left foot up off, just sending the left leg out in front, and then the right leg out. Just going to do some nice bounces with the knees, doing any stretches that feel good before we go to the other side again. So bringing the soles of the feet back to touch, like we did in that bound angular pose before. And this is always a really good starting point for the fire log pose. And this time, using our hands, we're going to grab the ankle of the right foot. And this time, we're going to bring the ankle over to sit on top of the left thigh. And at the same time, you noticed my left leg shimmying across. And again, looking to align the shins one on top of the other. Grabbing our blocks, our pillows, anything we need to make this pose more comfortable for us, to allow us to sustain it. But like I said, if it doesn't work for you, just going into one of those stretches where we had one leg bent, one out front, and just do that instead. So when you found that comfortable pose, with or without props, you'll probably notice it feels much different on this side as the other one. And again, knowing that's perfectly normal, we're just going to ground back into the body. I've chosen to close my eyes, just to help me really focus inwards, listening to the sensations of the body. Not only am I registering where I'm feeling any tightness in the muscles, I'm also going to look for other areas of the body which feel good, which feel nice and relaxed. The muscles on my face, my shoulders nicely dropped away from my ears. I'm just enjoying this pose for what it is. And then when you're ready, depending on where your hands are, we're just going to bring them down by the side. They might have already been there. We're going to send both legs out long. Again, maybe using our hands to help. One leg out, then the other. We're going to do that nice little knee bop. I think that is the technical term. And I think actually our time has come for the end of our practice. I don't want to keep you too long. I've noticed how my videos have slowly, secretly been creeping up in the time. So I want to try and keep them back down for you, just so you feel like it's still a manageable practice for yourselves. So I do like to finish off the practice with our 4 intentions. Obviously you can press stop if you don't want to do it, but I just think it's a lovely thing to do, even unrelated to yoga, just taking those moments just to set ourselves some intentions that carry us through to our day or our week ahead. They can be done with or without the hand mudras. If you want to do the hand mudras with me, it's one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. And we set the intention to have a joyful and energetic body. Bring the bottom hand over the hand that's in the heart center. We set our intention to have a loving and compassionate heart. Bringing the hands out in front, the fingertips to touch, and the base of the hands away from one another, and tuning into that third eye center. We set our intention to have a clear, reflective, and alert mind. Finally, bringing the soles of the hand to touch and open just the 3 middle fingers. And we're tuning into our energy field surrounding our body. We set our final intention together to have lightness in our being. Bring the hands to close in that prayer pose, drawing the prayer towards your heart, remembering that one word that summarizes your intention. Just silently repeat it to yourself again now. And then I want to say, from my heart to yours, thank you for continuing to watch. Namaste. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.